What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fight IQ / UFC Fight Card Recap, okay? Because I'm just going to quickly, before we get into the Sandhagen versus Figueiredo card, okay? I just want to quickly jump into this Ian Garry Prates card, the Kansas City Fight Night, and just do a little quick recap, alright? I'm not going to do the nitty-gritty on the preliminary fighters. We're probably just going to cover main card and then some bigger moments, alright? Starting with the main event. As I picked, Ian Garry was just a craftier fighter. He just mixed it up a lot better, alright? His speed was there in the striking, okay? He was a lot faster than Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates threw about one punch to cut Ian Garry's 10, alright? Carlos Prates, for being someone who walks you down, stalks you down, and then puts you out. He was very sluggish, sort of just, yeah. I think he might have thought that he'd eventually catch Garry at some point, but that shot was just never there. And there was just no... Outside of the halfway through the fourth round and the fifth round, Prates was very quiet, very slow, didn't do much. And I think that enabled Garry to capture them first three rounds. And I think the only reason Carlos Prates had so much success in them later two rounds is because Garry did so much in the earlier rounds and Prates did nothing. Oh my God, guys. Sometimes you win these battles, sometimes you don't. And hopefully that stays there and that doesn't happen again, because that scared the living shit out of me, okay? Carlos Prates, alright? He just fell asleep behind the wheel. He was not the scary, the nightmare, okay? He wasn't anyone's nightmare that night. He sucked. Honestly, he did get close to finishing Garry in that late round 5, but that's just simply because of an exhaustion factor, alright? Ian Garry just, he just showed Carlos Prates levels, right? Just showed him levels. Showed him that you can't just be the, oh yeah, I'm going to stalk you down and knock you out, man. You got to mix it up. You got to be able to watch the take. I mean, in all fairness, Carlos Prates' takedown defense is really good. It's either his takedown defense is really good or Gary's really shit, but I don't think Gary's really shit, okay? So his takedown defense was really good. And, Garry was just outstriking him. Head kicks, body kicks, the teep kick to the leg and to the chest was money. Just them flurry combinations. Garry would throw like 1-2 uppercut and then a hook, and Garry was firing. He was definitely firing. So shout outs to Ian Garry, okay, getting the win. Obviously, I'm not a huge Ian Garry fan, okay, but I picked Ian Garry to win this one just because I knew he'd be a little bit more craftier. He has a little bit more experience in these bigger fights. And Carlos Prates, man, I said it. He's a one-trick pony. Right now, he's a one-trick pony. The fighting nerds need to, work on his game plan or whatever. I don't know. He's a one-trick pony. He just looks for that big moment. And it just was never there, so. The co-main event, Anthony Smith versus Zhang Yang. I called this one. It was the retirement fight. It was just going to get ugly. And to be honest, I'm happy that Anthony Smith didn't go out cold. Anthony didn't go out cold in the first round. I think the way he got finished was a bit brutal with all the blood, but it's a warrior's way to go out, man. That is a perfect way. Old, crafty vet, Anthony Smith, that is a perfect way for him to retire, for him to hang up the gloves. What a better way than big cut on the head, blood going everywhere, and yeah, he sort of shelled up and looked, it didn't look as epic, but, he had the blood squirting out, and he's there, and he's kind of exchanging with Zhang Yang. I like this for Anthony Smith, okay? I've always been someone who made fun of Anthony Smith. I never liked Anthony Smith fights. He always just, to me, looked a little bit funny, okay? But behind that sort of goofball face was this killer, this epic fighter, okay? Who, realistically, let's face it, Anthony Smith had a great career. He's a great fighter. And, honestly, I'm happy to say that I enjoyed the years that Anthony Smith was around, okay? I probably took for granted some of the fights he was in. That John Jones fight, great fight, that Davison win, and he's fought the who's who's. And, I'm grateful for Anthony Smith's time in the company, and it's a little bit sad because it's passing of the torch kind of thing, guys. It starts to sink in that, hey, we're all getting old. Anthony Smith's retiring. We're all getting old. And Dustin Poirier retires in a few months, guys. It's a bit of a passing of the torch, and it's a bit of a wake-up call. So this was a bit of a brutal fight, but a great way for Anthony Smith to retire. I like the retirement thing they did for him at the end of the fight. Can't take away from Zhang Mingyang. He looked great. Great performance, great finish. We all knew it was going to happen, so I just don't want to dwell on it. David Onama, Giga Shikadze. Pretty sure I said this. It'll be a little bit boring in the striking. Very high level, but sometimes when you get two guys who are so high level on the feet, the striking then becomes a little bit boring, all right? So, David Onama, congratulations. Stunk it up on the ground a bit. Abus Magomedov, guys, I said it, all right? I felt he was being overlooked in this one. And guess what? He was, and he got the job done, all right? Michel Pereira sort of looked like he was asleep. Bit like Carlos Prates. Michel Pereira fights the best on the front foot, throwing flamboyant strikes and spinning kicks and jumping off the cage and backflipping. That's how he fights best because it overwhelms guys, okay? But he was very reserved. He's very slow. And I almost thought he might have had the game plan to come out and just motor in the third round, but he didn't. And he lost. So, yeah. Abus, it's what I said. Guys overlook Abus because of his few losses, but look at who he's lost to. Some pretty good names. So, yeah. Randy Brown, Nicholas Dalby. Brutal knockout. Randy Brown, once again, when I said it in the breakdown, Randy Brown is completely overlooked. Ikram Alaskarov gets a big win, big knockout in the first round, enters the win column. And then, few fights in here. Cameron Simon gets brutally knocked out. But we went pretty well, guys. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 fights right out of the whole card. And we picked every single main card fight. So, yeah. It was a good card, guys. UFC Fight Night Kansas was really good. But for what we're really here for is this week's fight card. Sandhagen versus Figueiredo. This isn't a bad card. It's not a great card. It's not my favourite card of the year, okay? It's a bit of a gap filler. It's just a fight night, guys. Pretty sure Wells Fargo Arena. Okay, so we're actually not in the Apex, which I don't mind that we're not in the Apex, alright? But yeah, Juliana Miller versus Ivian Petrovic, whatever. I'm taking. I actually don't know who I'm taking here, guys. They both have 3 fights in the UFC. Both of them have won 1 fight out of the 3. They both look malnourished. They don't look like fighters. I'm going to go solely off the fact that Juliana Miller could be related to Jim Miller. She might have a bit of dog in her. So I'm going Juliana Miller on that one. Thomas Peterson versus Dontel Mays. I did a little bit of research into these two guys. I think Thomas Peterson might get this one done. I think he just has a little bit more bite behind his punch than a Dontel Mays. Don't quote me on that. I think Dontel Mays is known for putting people's lights out, but also, this is heavyweight and everyone can. I think this will just be a bit of a stinky, sweaty, get tired in the first round fight. Just from looking at both men's physique, especially Thomas Peterson. Regardless of that, I'm picking the big boy to get it done, all right? Picking the big boy to land some big shots, okay? If we look at the stats, Peterson has better grappling and striking, but stats, are never always right, and we pick off the dog. I don't think Thomas Peterson just looks like he wants it more. He might be a bit more of a youthful guy as well. So, yeah, Thomas Peterson, can't really say how he's going to win it. Probably the Y finish. Gaston Bolaños. He's Peruvian. A couple Peruvian guys making an appearance this weekend. And Vietnam's own, Quang Le. I'm going to go Gaston on this one. Purely off the fact that Quang Le has 2 fights in the UFC and he's lost both of them. All right, and I know picking that way never typically works for me, but I'm hoping it works this time around because Gaston sort of looks like Ilia Topuria, okay? Looks a bit like Ilia, but he's from Peru, right? So I think this could be still a close fight, though. Don't count out Quang Le, and if I'm wrong, I'll eat my words, but yeah, I kind of just want to fly through a few of these. Marina Rodriguez versus Jillian Robertson. I think this could be a bit of a passing of the torch, if you will. Bit of a hand off the baton. Marina Rodriguez doesn't have the best record in the women's strawweight division across the UFC, regardless if it's strawweight or not. Okay, and then Gillian Robertson is on a 5-fight win streak. She's lost 1 fight in the UFC, I'm pretty sure. So she's a bit of a dog, okay? She's standing up for Canada. She's always big on these Canadian cards. And we lost the board again. We lost the board, and a lot of other people would give up on the board, but us here at Fighting Field Insights, we got a lot of dog and a lot of heart about us, so I just put it straight back up. I'm taking Gillian Robertson on this one, guys. I think she's the more well-rounded fighter. I think she has what it takes to get this fight to the ground if she need to, and I think her striking's good enough to where she could catch Marina Rodriguez at certain points by mixing in takedowns. So yeah, I like Gillian Robertson on this one, just off the simple fact that Marina Rodriguez, man, and I could be wrong, Marina Rodriguez could be a bit crafty, a bit of a veteran, and use some of this win-loss knowledge in the UFC to her advantage, all right, and catch a hungry prospect like Robinson out. So, yeah, I'm not too sure, but I'm going with my gut, and I'm going with the fact that, this isn't even really a gut pick. This is a stat pick, all right? I'm going off of Gillian Robertson here on this one, guys. Please don't let me down. Have we broken onto the main card? No, I think that's prelim still. Up next, Ryan Loder. And this is a bit of a sleeper fight, guys. If you don't know either of these guys, you're about to find out. Ryan Loder, okay? I think he's, what do they like to, what's Dana White like to call this? Tough winner, right? He beat Robertine Valentino, or whatever his name is, okay? That was a sick fight. But I will just say that Ryan Loder's a bit of a wet blanket, okay? I think he's a bit of a jiu-jitsu guy. Okay, we don't have too many stats to go off of in here because he's only had 1 fight, and so's Azamat Bekoev. All right. Azamat famously debut fight against Zachary Reese, takes him down, ground and pounds him out cold, which are some of the brutal ones to knock out when someone gets ground and pounded out cold. Zachary Reese's bald head bouncing off the canvas like a pinball. Right, Azamat is dangerous on the ground. Ryan Loder is dangerous on the ground. That's what makes this fight really entertaining. We don't have too much to go off of from previous fights. You know, we've seen Ryan Loder throughout the tough series. So, you know, I do like Ryan Loder. I think that wet blanket style could come into an effect because when you get two great grapplers who match it up, they tend to stand, which I think Azamat could have a bit of an advantage. Will Ryan Loder be just better on the ground? These are all the questions that we're going to have answered. But for now, it's a hard pick. This is honestly a pick that I'm not confident in whatsoever. But I'm going to go Ryan Loder. Ooh. No, I think the UFC is cruel. Okay, I think the UFC is cruel. No, I'm going to go Ryan Loder. I'm going to roll with Ryan Loder. Okay, guys. I like Ryan Loder on tough, and I like his fight against Valentine, whatever his name is. I'm going to go Ryan Loder in this one, guys. Could go either way, though, because both of them seem like they know what they're doing. When it comes to the mat, I think the big puzzle piece will be who's got the better hands, because I think that's where it might end up. On to the main card, I believe. No, I'm not sure. I'm completely lost, guys. No, this is still prelims. Yana Santos versus Misha Tate. I'm sure both women are going to scrap it out. I'm sure Misha Tate's going to have a big moment and probably, you know, go out there throwing these 1-2s down the middle. But I'm going to go Yana Santos to hold that number 10 ranking. And if you didn't know Yana Santos was number 10 bantamweight rank, that's okay, guys. I didn't either. All right. Jeremy Stephens versus Mason Jones. Now we're on the main card. Look, if I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't know Jeremy Stephens was still even in the UFC. I thought he was doing bare knuckle. Mason Jones, I haven't heard much from either. If I'm going to be honest, guys, I skimmed this fight, alright? So if I get this pick wrong, I've skimmed it. But I'm going to go Mason Jones. I've skimmed this fight completely. Mason Jones just looks like the more youthful dog. But, I mean, no, there is no more bigger of a dog than Jeremy Stephens, okay? Bare knuckle on that. We'll have a quick look. We'll have a look, guys. Seems like both of these guys haven't fought recently because they're wearing the old Venom shorts. So, 28-19, 11-2. Yeah, this could be anyone's fight, guys. This could be anyone's fight. Yeah, we're gonna take Jeremy Stevens on this one. Cameron Smoothman versus Siri City. Siri 11-2. Cameron Smoothman 12-4. All right, some pretty similar ranks. Some pretty similar win losers and records rather.
Okay.
Whoa!
Level 2 movement.
Siri just started talking to me. I'm so sorry about that, guys. This video's been chaos. We've got signs falling down. We got outside interferences from AI. All right, this is insane. No, sorry. Get back to where we're at. Grappling doesn't look like we've got any stats on it. Striking seems to go the way of Cameron Smoothman. I'm going to pick Cameron Smoothman, guys, because I'm just not too invested in this one. I'm sorry. Both of these guys have boring written all over them. It's a bantamweight fight on the main card. Just has boring written all over it. This next fight, however, at bantamweight, I'm really excited for. Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. Both of these guys are on big win streaks. I think Daniel Marcos is undefeated in the UFC. Montel Jackson has one loss in the UFC, and he was his first fight in the UFC, or second fight. So both of these guys have a lot to lose. Montel Jackson holding down a number 15 rank. Daniel Marcos trying to crack in. Undefeated Daniel Marcos, 15-2 Montel Jackson. The striking's similar. The grappling's almost similar, guys. Oh, wait, no, sorry. That's wins by striking is quite similar. The grappling actually goes the way of Montel Jackson's off these stats. This is a hard one, guys. This is a really hard fight to pick, all right? We've seen a lot of good stuff out of Daniel Marcos. He has showed that he's a top guy in a lot of his fights. I think he recently just beat Adrian Yanez, I believe, which is a good win. That's a stocked win. That's a lot of stock in Daniel Marcos getting a win like that. Whereas Montel Jackson's last win was against Damon Blackshear, who just got a win on the weekend or the weekend before. So there's a lot of stock in any of these guys, all right? Montel Jackson, I think Montel Jackson probably has the upper hand in this one. I think I'm just going off of craftiness, all right? I'm going off of craftiness, and I think Montel Jackson might be a little bit more crafty, okay? I think he might be able to hold the fight, maybe show levels, and just show Daniel Marcos that there's levels to the top 15. But I'm not sure, guys. This fight's so hard to pick. It could go either way. But look, for my final pick, I'm going to take Montel Jackson. All right, I think he's just looked a little bit better in his fights. Who am I kidding? I really don't know. I'm not a big Montel Jackson guy, so I have seen Daniel Marcos fight a few times, and he does look really good. So I mean, either way, guys, I think I'm going to steer towards Montel Jackson here. Up next, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. Two couple old heads fighting it out, guys. I'm not going to dwell on this one too much. You know, Daniel Rodriguez is actually still pretty dangerous at his age. But so Santiago Ponzinibbio, okay, it wasn't too long ago that he was winning a few fights. So, I don't mind Santiago Ponzinibbio to win this one, guys. All right, it's going to be a bit of a retirement fight, bit of a drink break, all right? I can't say I'm too invested in this one whatsoever. This is a real gap filler. This is a real drink break. Santiago Ponzinibbio, guys. Do we have betting odds on these guys yet? Oh, he's the underdog. Daniel Rodriguez is the favourite, guys. Whoa. Reiner Dorita versus Bo Nickle. UFC's golden boy Bo Nickle is back on the proving ground against on the rise Reiner Dorita. Recently just beat Kevin Holland, I believe. So that's a pretty big win. I think I'm still going to steer the way of Bo Nickle. Just solely because Bo Nickle... this is the most chaotic video. Bo Nickle, he just... I don't know, guys. I actually don't know. I think if Bo Nickle's... What was Bo Nickle's last fight? It was trash. I believe Bo Nickle's last fight against Paul Craig was trash. Bo Nickle did no attempt to grapple. All right? He just threw the same punch combinations over and over again. And Reiner Dorita, if that is how the fight continues, I think Reiner Dorita is probably gonna beat Bo Nickle. But if Bo Nickle mixes in the takedowns, If Bo Nickle mixes in the takedowns, I think Bo Nickle probably wins this one quite easily, guys. If Bo Nickle, sorry, I've got a million things going right now. If Bo Nickle mixes in the takedowns and actually goes back to the wrestling, I think he probably easily beats Reiner de Ridder. But Reiner de Ridder, in my opinion, is he's one of these Dricus du Plessis types where you bet against him and then all of a sudden he's just stumbling or bumbling into throwing big right hands and just catching Bo Nickle. So yeah. Look, Reiner de Ridder. Yeah, Reiner de Ridder. I honestly like Reiner de Ridder. Reiner de Ridder, however you want to say it. I want to see him win fights. Okay? Is that crazy of me to say that I want him to see him win fights? Just how goofy he is. And he actually looked really dominant in his last win against Kevin Holland. He looked really dominant against Kevin Holland. But I think Bo Nickle's just might be another level. Alright? I think Bo Nickle might have an Ian Gary performance where we all sort of were high on this guy's, high on Ian Gary, and then he had a few shit fights and we were like, oh, Ian Gary's actually shit. And then he just did really well against Carlos Prates. Bo Nickle might have one of them performances, guys. So I'm going to go Bo Nickle on this one to crack into the rankings. Take that number 13 off of Reiner de Ridder. But I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. On to the main event, Cory Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. Number 4 ranked Cory Sandhagen versus number 5 ranked Davison Figueiredo. Main event, guys. This is a cool fight. I will say it's not my favourite fight in the world. I think it's cool in the fact that these guys are... It's a pretty close matchup. Okay, both guys have a good ground game. We've seen Cory Sandhagen utilise his ground game to win fights against Rob Font, where he just sits on guys, just like position over submission, just throwing up submission threats, ground and pound. Okay, Cory Sandhagen can do that. But so can Davison Figueiredo. We've seen Davison Figueiredo's takedown game active in display. I think he did it sort of a lot against Marvin Vettori and Cody Garbrandt. So, you know, it's very similar in the fact that they have the ground game in their back pocket. Davison Figueiredo is a former champion, and he has looked good at the bantamweight division, no matter the fact he is quite old. Right? I think Cory Sandhagen's probably going to take this one, guys. I don't want to just quickly jump on and assume Cory Sandhagen's the better fighter, all right? But, like, I think Cory Sandhagen's just... I think his striking's just a little bit more crisp, okay? It sort of goes into that speed beats power, precision beats, or timing beats precision or something like that, all right? That old fighting quote. Right, I think Davison Figueiredo sort of fast twitch, you know, get inside, counter left hook, you know, ripping the body, boom, 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 leg kicks, you know, high pressure, throwing a lot, might miss a few. Whereas Cory Sandhagen sort of sit back, counter strike, you know, land these sniper shots, you know, low kicks, ripping the calf, shooting takedowns, mixing it up really well. Cory Sandhagen might have a bit of a breakout fight here, guys. Might get himself into title picture, right? Title talk, because the bantamweight division is in shambles right now, right? And when you look at who Cory Sandhagen's lost to, he's only lost to the best, you know, Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw, and TJ Dillashaw was pretty good. And then you know, like who's most recently the little Russian dude, the little Russian guy, Umar Nurmagomedov. So yeah, Cory's only lost to the best, but so's Davison Figueiredo. So I don't know. This is a really hard one to pick, guys. I think I am going to be a little, you know, a little bantamweight, because I've been watching Cory Sandhagen fight for a while, so I'm going to be a little bit Cory Sandhagen biased and go Cory Sandhagen to win over Davison Figueiredo. But I've often betted against Davison Figueiredo and been wrong. And then when I did bet on him to beat Peter Yan, he loses. So yeah, I'm going to go Cory Sandhagen. All right, I think this will be a really entertaining, high-skilled bantamweight fight. There won't be any shortage of questions, okay? We won't get what-ifs in this fight. Every question that I have will be answered, okay? Who's going to win the ground? Will Cory Sandhagen control from distance? I think Davison Figueiredo probably wins early rounds, 1s, 2s, maybe 3. Cory Sandhagen might make it a close round 3 and win 4 and 5. Not sure. We'll see how I go. We'll see how I go on these picks, guys, okay? But, no, that's it. That's that's UFC Fight Night, Figueiredo versus Sandhagen. Once again, UFC providing a pretty good fight night for us until we get UFC 314 or 315, sorry, next weekend. Jack Della versus Bilal Muhammad for the welterweight belt. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next Fight IQ / UFC recap video. See you later.